Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego, and it's time for another live stream, another K1 Visa green card live stream. I give you all this free information on how to process your green card, your K1 visas, your spousal visas, etc., etc. Now, I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't give you any legal advice. I don't work for USCIS, but I have 12 years experience processing K1 visas and green cards, over 12 years. So jump on board and let's get going. Let's go. If you have any questions, if you want to know how to fill out paperwork, if you want to know how to process your K1 visa, whatever it is you need, I'm here to help you. I want you to not have to pay an immigration attorney to do this. You don't need an immigration attorney to pay. You don't need to be paying an immigration attorney a ton of money to fill out paperwork that you can do by yourself. The I-129F, what is it, 12, 13 pages? You can fill it out yourself. The I-485, the application for the 2-year green card, 24 pages. You can do it yourself. You can read and write. You can add and subtract. You can do this yourself. Okay? Got my Colombian hat on. I got my Karina Ross Coffee Company polo shirt on. And Karina worked 12 hours today, so she's going to take a break from sitting in here, listening to me go on and on and on about green cards and K1 visas, because she's been there and done that. Now, Karina, my beautiful wife, is from Caracas, Venezuela, and we dated each other for 3 years in Bogota, Colombia, where she was a resident, legal resident. And then she came to the United States on her K1 visa after going to the scary visa interview at the U.S. Embassy. And Lauren is here. Welcome, Lauren. Now, Lauren looks like you just joined as a member. That's great. Welcome aboard as a member, Lauren. So now you can go into the videos that are members-only videos, and you can get my cell number and actually Karina's cell phone number, email address, etc. Hello and thank you, Lauren. Well, thank you for signing up as a member. Now, remember, as a member, you can text me and call me anytime you want. If you have an emergency with immigration, if you need help with something like immediately or just regular routine, then now you're a member. You have my phone number and email address. If you need me to help you fill out paperwork, you can send it to me. You can screenshot it to me, or you can email it to me. Do not submit anything to immigration until I have taken a look at it. Let me review it. That way, if there's any mistakes, we can catch it and save you a big headache. The big thing I find with people is they get into a big hurry. They get into a big hurry and they submit paperwork with mistakes because they're in a hurry to get their beneficiary to America. Brownie RSPS, our friend from the United Kingdom, now becoming Americanized. Brownie RSPS, it's the best immigration advice channel on the platform. Hello, Brownie. Well, thanks for that. I've got so much experience doing this, okay, that I have more knowledge, most likely, than an immigration attorney. How many immigration attorneys do you know that have actually brought somebody to the United States and then they've married that person and went through the actual reality of going through the K1 visa application, the real deal? Okay, well, that's what I've done, and I can do this in my sleep. I've been doing it for 12 years. Francois Livingston, good evening, Diego and Karina. What's going on, Francois? Now, Francois is in upstate New York, and you told me in a text message, because Francois is a member of the channel, she has my cell number. You told Karina in a text message that it's looking like snow in upstate New York. So there you go. We hope that, if I want to see snow, though, I Google it. I don't want to live in snow. In 1982, I was living in Staten Island, New York City. And they had the blizzard of 82, and it was so horrendous. There was so much freaking snow. I told my aunt, I said, run me to the airport when the roads get clear. I'm flying to Florida. So I moved to Florida in 1982, and I've never left, well, other than being in the military. Brownie RSPS, I heard on Reddit the other day, an immigration attorney was charging someone $2,200 to attend their marriage green card interview and doing absolutely nothing. Well, you know what? If somebody pays an immigration attorney $2,200 to go to their green card interview, then that person, okay, is having issues. There's a big problem. You don't need an immigration attorney to be attending your marriage green card interview. Okay? Your immigration attorney has got, you don't even need to hire one. The only time you need to hire an immigration attorney, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, is if you have a criminal record, and you don't even have to hire the immigration attorney. You can pay a one-time consultation fee and get your criminal records from the courthouse and have the immigration attorney look at them and see if you qualify for the benefit, right? If you qualify for the benefit, then you go home and you do the paperwork yourself. And how much is a consultation fee? I don't know. But it's a tad over $600 for the K-1 visa application. It's $750 if you file the paper process to lift the conditions off of a 2-year green card. It's $1,440 to file for a 2-year green card for a grown-up. That's for an adult over the age of 16. Let's see, the Brownie, that's ridiculous. Francois, so pretty thorough, all gone today. Well, I'm glad to hear the snow's gone. Because I personally, if I wanted to live in snow, I would live where you live. But we live in the panhandle of Florida where it snowed once, I think, in 100 years. So snow's good for me looking at it online. But actually living in it, I can't do that. Everybody, welcome Lauren to the channel. She just signed up as a member. So Lauren's going to have my email address and phone number. Actually, Karina's. It's Karina's. I gave Karina the cell phone. I don't have any use for an iPhone. Really, I don't. But Karina, she needs an iPhone because for her job. But as a member of the channel, you can text me and call me on that number, which is Karina's number, so you can get in touch with me with any questions with immigration. Brownie, wait a second. Brownie RSPS, I kind of got annoyed at someone I saw got their case approved in 2 months. But the basis for their case was they got married on an ESTA and stayed in the USA and filed an I-130. So they came over on a tourist visa and then they filed for a spousal visa, which is an I-130, and they couldn't even do the process like everyone else, didn't even wait like everyone else. Well, here's the problem with that. Immigration should have denied the 2-year green card application. Immigration should have denied it. And they should have said, well, they shouldn't have denied they shouldn't have denied it. They should have sent everything back and told that person to return to their home country and file the spousal visa via the consulate in his or her home country. That's what immigration should have done. But they lucked out, apparently. They got lucky. Because under the current administration, if you jump the line, if you come to the United States on a tourist visa and get married to a U.S. citizen, under this current administration, that is a visa fraud. Now, they're not going to deny you the green card if you qualify for the benefit, but what they should have done is sent the person back to the home country. It's exactly, it was like skipping the queue, right? That's what they did. They jumped the line. They jumped in front of everybody who was waiting patiently for their K-1 visas to get adjudicated and or their spousal visas. Okay? That is not good. But the immigration officer should have sent all the paperwork back and said, you got to return home and you need to file for the spousal visa, which is the I-130, and get to the back of the freaking line like everybody else is waiting, right? So I'm sorry to hear that happen, because basically that just throws a wrench into the green card K1 visa process, and it shows like preferential treatment, and that shouldn't happen. So that shouldn't be happening under the Trump administration. Everybody should be getting the green cards by waiting their turn and going in line like everybody else. Karina and I had to wait 2 years just to get our K1 visa adjudicated. Lauren, in your experience, do they care if your gross income is a mix of W-2 and 1099 dividends and capital gains? No. The only thing that matters is the total income on line 9 of your 1040. I have read they are finicky about your income not being all W-2. No. My total income when I applied for Karina's K1 visa and for her 2-year green card was 1099. I don't have a W-2. I was a real estate agent back when I was filing, and I'm retired military. All I had was 1099s. Now, granted, I was a land surveyor assistant. I was an assistant land surveyor for my friend's company. He used to own a land surveying company until he retired now. So I had a W-2 from that. But when I filed for the 2-year green card with Karina, I had no W-2s at all. All I had was 1099s, totally. All they care about is on line 9 of your 1040, how much money did you make for the year? Okay? If it's above the threshold, you want to be at least $3,000 to $4,000 a year above the minimum income threshold. If you're right on the line, okay, of the minimum income requirements for a family of 2, family of 3, however big your family size is, if you're right on the line, get a joint sponsor. Technically, you qualify for the benefit if you're just right on the line. But immigration, I'm not seeing immigration officers having a problem with a mix of W-2s and 1099s, because my visa process was totally 1099s for my wife. But if you're very close to the minimum income, if you want to be at least $4,000 above the minimum, because if you're just about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 over the minimum, get a joint sponsor. Trust me on that. But Diego, I make enough money. Well, yeah, technically you make enough money, but you're right on the line. So it's up to it's like if you get pulled over for speeding by the deputy. The deputy has jurisdiction over the ticket. The deputy can say, okay, you were going 10 or 12 miles, you're going 10, 12 miles over the speed limit, but I'm going to give you a warning ticket. Or the deputy could say, you were going 10 or 12 miles over the speed limit, I'm going to write you a freaking speeding ticket. It's up to the deputy. The same is with immigration. If you're right on the line of your income, if you're at 125% for a family of 2, you want to make at least $4,000 to $5,000. I'm going to say $4,000 minimum, above the minimum. If you're right on the 125%, get a joint sponsor. You might get an immigration adjudicator who will go with the 125%. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be asked for a joint sponsor. So Lauren, to answer your question, minimum being 100%. Okay. And Lauren, that was my next question. Brownie, yeah, they say 125%. I would say 150 to be safe. That's correct. So your next question was, if you're right on the line and you're saying minimum being 100% or 125%. Now let me explain the difference between 100% and 125%. The K1 visa at the embassy or the consulate, the application for the K1 visa is a non-immigrant visa. Congressional law says to qualify for a non-immigrant visa, you got to be at 100% of the minimum income requirements for the family size. Family of 2, family of 3, or whatever. Because it's a non-immigrant visa. But when you get to the United States of America and apply for the 2-year green card, it changes to an immigrant application from a non-immigrant application. A non-immigrant K-1 visa is a temporary. It's a temporary visa. It gives you access to the United States. You get entry into America. And then it becomes obsolete. And then you're walking off your I-94. Then your I-94 becomes your temporary legal status. But then it goes up to 125% because you're going from a non-immigrant to an immigrant application. An immigrant application is a 125%. But like Brownie says, you want to be at least at 150%, because if you are right on the line, get a joint sponsor. Lauren, what about using investments and cash supplement? You can use investments and cash as a supplement. Cash is king. Okay. If you got 100 grand in the bank, in your checking account, savings account, money market account, you can show that when you fill out the I-134, the declaration of the declaration of financial support and the affidavit of support. When you fill out the 484, you can show your assets and your cash and your investments, but you also have to show your liabilities. So if you have $100,000 in cash in the bank, but you have $100,000 mortgage on your house, they're going to wipe each other out, right? So let's suppose you got $200,000 in assets, but you got a $200,000 mortgage. So it's going to equalize. So what you really want is to have as minimal debt as possible. Your credit card, pay off your credit card if you can before you apply for the K-1 visa or the 2-year green card. Pay off your debts as much as you can. Of course, you can't pay off your house. You're going to have a house payment. You can't get around the mortgage. But if you can get your credit card payment down to nothing, then that's good. That will be the best thing you can do. Brownie RSPS, they just don't want the beneficiary to be using any kind of government support. That's all they care about. Public charge is what they care about. Here's what's going on with immigration right now. As of November 12th, 2025, immigration is now looking at the qualifications of the beneficiary entering the United States of America. Like, excuse me, Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, she has the degree in tax accounting, and she got hired right away after she got her work permit and her green card. She got hired right away, okay, because she has a degree. Now, if you don't have a degree, that's not going to stop you from getting a job. But what immigration is looking at now is the beneficiary going to be independent of the American citizen sponsor once they get to the United States? What do I mean by that? Well, let's suppose something like your American citizen sponsor gets into a car accident and gets ended up, severely injured and can't work. Then it's going to fall on the beneficiary to take up the slack on the household income. So immigration is saying, okay, something happens to the U.S. citizen sponsor. How is the beneficiary going to take care of herself or himself? See what I'm saying? So when you apply for your 2-year green card, immigration's asking you on your 485 and actually on the affidavit of support, how much money do you make? What's your income? What's your assets? What's your liabilities? And Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, what is your education level? If you have a college degree, a master's degree, a doctorate, an engineering degree, if you have certifications, if you're a certified mechanic, you're a certified dentist assistant, whatever it is, like Karina was a certified accountant in Venezuela, certified as an accountant. She was the director of accounting for a big company before the company went bankrupt because of the freaking communists destroyed her country. But she had these certifications. All that information went into her 2-year green card application. Yeah, I got a degree in tax accounting. And if you're beneficiary, If you have a college degree from the Philippines, from Japan, from Colombia, whatever country, India, whatever country you live in, if you have a degree from that country, get it adjudicated as an American equivalency. And I'll type right here the name of a company that can do that, right? The Spanish group. I'll type it right here. SpanishGroup.org. Let me see where so if you're a foreigner, if you're a foreign national, you got a degree, you got education from overseas, get it transferred into a U.S. equivalency. Like Karina, I took all of her college transcripts from the university in Caracas, Venezuela. I sent it to the Spanish group, and they converted it into a U.S. equivalency degree. Then I got that translated into English. And then that went in her 2-year green card application. It went in her K-1 visa application. So when she applied for her 2-year green card, immigration could see that she has a degree in tax accounting, that she's a certified tax accountant, even though here she'd have to probably redo everything, but it doesn't matter. Immigration is looking very hard at what happens to the U.S. citizen sponsor, and the beneficiary is left alone in the United States. What if your sponsor, passes away and goes to heaven? What's the beneficiary going to do? Go back to her home country or his home country, or remain in the United States independent? So it is very important, Mr. American citizen sponsor, Miss American citizen sponsor, that you put your beneficiary on your life insurance policies, on your health insurance policies, on the title to the car, on the deed to the house. You've got to create maximum security for your beneficiary when she gets to America, because immigration is going to look at that. And they're going to say, okay, if something happens to Diego, Karina's going to be perfectly okay living independently in America. She's got a degree. She's got a good job. She's got this channel, this YouTube channel she can run. She's got all these qualifications. This is going to be the new level for immigration adjudication. Okay? That's what they're looking for. Brownie RSPS, using stuff like Medicaid as a green card holder can get you citizenship denied in some cases, in all cases. Every case. You cannot be on Medicaid as a green card holder, because that means us taxpayers are supporting this person, not the sponsor. No, it's all cases. John Lane, welcome, John. Now, John's a member of this channel, waiting for our 2-year green card interview on December 10th. Okay, well, we're going to put Mega Pixie Dust on for December 10th, next month. Now everything seems to be moving along quickly. Absolutely, John. More Mega Pixie Dust. Okay, you're good. Even J-Rod here, J-Rod's in the live stream. J-Rod's my buddy. He's an alien from the Zeta Reticuli star system. He got his green card, so he's good. So he's hanging out with us on the live stream. Ren S. Now, Ren S is from Texas, the great state of Texas. Hello, long time no text. Very good. I used your videos in the past. Right, of course. It's the videos that I make for you guys is to help you do this process for free. Unless you remember, if you remember the channel, then you get my phone number and email address, and then you can call me. If you have an emergent question on immigration, you can call me. You don't have to wait for a live stream, because sometimes I'll take a day off from a live stream. Like Monday, I couldn't do a live stream. On Monday, I started the live stream, and all the cement that was holding my beautiful teeth together decided to discombobulate. It was 2 years old anyway. I got these teeth in Colombia. The dentist did a great job in Colombia, and the cement held up for 2 years. And then the cement decided not to hold up anymore. So I was having a problem trying to talk. So I canceled the live stream Monday, and then today I went to the dentist, emergency appointment, and the dentist in my dentist here fixed it. And my dentist is from the Dominican Republic, and her husband's from Colombia. So I got a good deal. I told her I got a live stream. I do a YouTube channel for immigration, and I help people. I've helped people from Dominican Republic and Colombia. And so I got a big deal. I got a great discount on my emergency dental work. So now I'm back live again. And the teeth look pretty good, right? These are made in Colombia. But the cement, she told me, my dentist today told me, the cement's only going to last for maybe 2 years. And then I'll be back there going back to her to get it fixed again. I said, no worries. But good to see you, Ren S. Glad to see you. Espe, greetings, Diego. All is well. Should one have their wedding ceremony in California or somewhere in Reno? As for obtaining the marriage certificate, the fastest. Go get married in Nevada, Las Vegas, Reno. I don't care what part of Nevada you go to, because you're going to get your marriage license and your marriage certificate within 24 hours. If you get married in California, in particular Los Angeles, if you get married, number one, it takes you about 2 months just to get an appointment for a marriage license in Los Angeles. Remember, Los Angeles is ran by incompetent fools, the government, not the people. The government is incompetent in California. Governor Newsom is a disaster for California. Now, I'm not a political channel. I'm an immigration channel, but I'm just telling you, if you're trying to get married in Los Angeles, you're going to have to wait a long freaking time to get your marriage license because the line's so long. Then you get your marriage license, you're going to have to wait 3 months for your marriage certificate. And all the time, while you're trying to do this, you're trying to get this information collected for a green card. So, because Nevada has a competent government ran by competent people, and I believe the governor of Nevada is a Democrat, but the governor is doing a great job with Nevada. So the process, okay, is much quicker. So if you live in California, especially a big city, go to Nevada to get married so you can get all your paperwork processed within a day or two. So the question is, obtaining the marriage certificate the fastest, fly to Reno. Go to Reno. Make a honeymoon out of it. So you make it your honeymoon and get lots of pictures. So when you file for the 2-year green card, you can say, well, we had our honeymoon in Nevada. We went to Reno, had our honeymoon, got married in Reno. And then that way, you're not waiting 3 freaking months for your marriage certificate. California is ran by communists and Marxists and socialists, incompetence at the max. The mayor of Los Angeles she's more concerned about illegal immigrants than she is about Americans. I'm serious. And now she can sue me if she wants to. I'm right here. But this is just reality that's happening in California. Not my opinion. It's reality from what you see, from the action of her, from her actions. The mayor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles she spent more time in communist Cuba doing political stuff than she did in California. I'm sorry for folks that live in California. Now, I'm not Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Okay, I'm independent. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. But I'm telling you, if you get married, trying to get a marriage certificate in California, in particular Los Angeles, is a very, very difficult process. It's time consuming. It's a long freaking process. But because California, luckily, is close to California is close to Nevada, you can skip across the state line. You could drive to Las Vegas from Los Angeles in about 2 hours, I think, and take care of business. Get married, have a honeymoon, get your marriage certificate printed, and get 5 certified copies. When you get your marriage certificate, you want to get 5 certified copies of your marriage certificate from the courthouse. Why do I say that? Well, you're going to need a certified copy of your marriage certificate for the 2-year green card application. You're going to need a certified copy of your marriage certificate for the lifting the conditions off your 2-year green card for the 10-year green card. You're going to need a certified copy of your marriage certificate when you apply for U.S. citizenship. So that's 3 right there, right off the bat. And then you want to have you want one for your house, right? So that's 4. Then you want to have one for backup in case immigration loses paperwork. So when you get married, get 5 certified copies of your marriage certificate. Minimum 5. Keep them in your house, okay? S-Bay, go to Reno. Take care of it in Nevada. Ren S, question, does the sponsor have to lift the conditions off a 2-year green card? Does the sponsor have to lift the conditions off a 2-year K1? Yes, the sponsor does. When you lift the conditions off of a 2-year green card, you're going to be filing Form I-751. Form I-751 is the husband and the wife together filing for a 10-year green card for the beneficiary. It's a joint application. Now, the only time a 2-year green card holder will not include the sponsor is if the sponsor dies or if they get divorced and her income or his income is sufficient to qualify for the 10-year green card with a good explanation as to why the person is filing alone for the 10-year green card. But the Form I-751 is the form you use to lift the conditions off of a 2-year green card, and it is filed together with the husband and the wife. The husband signs it, the beneficiary signs it. The American citizen signs the form, and the beneficiary signs the form. And you file it together. You can do it online, but I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you file paper. But if you file online, it's $700. If you file the paper way, which I recommend you do, it's $750. I strongly recommend you pay the extra $50 and file for your 10-year green card using the paper route, not the online route. The online process is still new. It's in its infancy. They haven't got all the bugs out of it yet, immigration. Now they're trying to streamline the process and make it more efficient, but sometimes making it more efficient basically throws a spanner in the works. Wait about another year or 2 before anybody should start using the online process for lifting conditions. Let's get all the bugs out of the system first. Ren S, what does the sponsor have to do? Yeah, you have to lift the condition. The sponsor and the beneficiary lift the conditions together off the 2-year green card. The K1 is no longer in play. When you landed in America, if you come to America on a K1 visa, when the wheels touch down, the K1 visa becomes obsolete. Then you check in with the Border Patrol and you get an I-94. You're now legally in this country with an I-94. The K1 visa is obsolete. Whoa, almost knocked over J-Rod, okay? The K1 visa is it's like this computer. I bought a new computer. My old computer was obsolete. I needed a new computer with more memory so I could run these live streams for you guys. So I bought a new computer. The K1 visa is obsolete. The I-94 is your legal paperwork to live in America. So when you print your I-94, you want to print 6 copies. You're going to put a copy in the glove box of your car. You're going to put a copy in your wallet or your purse. You're going to put a copy in your back pocket. Wherever you go in America, you're going to carry your I-94 with you. If you have a K2 child that you bring to the United States, the K2 child will have an I-94 with a different number than the K1. You're going to print 6 copies of the K2 child's I-94. You're going to use it to get the child enrolled in high school or middle school. When you go, unless you're in California, when you can get a CDL, if you're even illegal immigrants are being issued CDL driver's licenses in California. But the Trump administration is fixing that right today. That's dangerous stuff that's going on. Let's see here. Lauren, what part of the K1 process did you include? Did you include the American equivalent of her college transcript? Well, when I was dating Karina in Colombia, I asked her, I said, hey, do you have any college education? She said, yeah, I got 4 years of college from Caracas, Venezuela. I said, oh, okay, you got 4 years of college. Where are your college transcripts? She said, they're with my mom in Venezuela. I said, call your mom and have your mom email them to you. So her mom actually had to go to the university in Venezuela, and the university emailed Karina's college transcripts to her, and I got them and I printed them in Bogota, Colombia, and I looked at them and I said, great, this is a lot of college you got. So I sent the paperwork to the Spanish group in an email, and they turned it into a U.S. equivalency degree in tax accounting. So I had the college transcripts in Spanish, translated it into English, and then I got it adjudicated for U.S. equivalency. And the Spanish group did everything. And they did it in three or 4 days. I think it was like 3 days. So then I got these printouts of Karina's college transcripts, and I included them in her K-1 visa application. So immigration, when they were adjudicating her K-1 visa, they said, oh, this lady's got a college degree. Boom. She got points for that. Okay? What does that mean? Well, she's not lazy and she's not stupid. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to have a college degree. Okay? You're not going to be, I'm not saying you're lazy if you don't have a college degree, but they look at it that way. She's not lazy and she's not stupid. So what does that mean? That means that she can be employable in the United States. So then I included it in her 2-year green card application. What did that tell immigration? Karina is employable. She's got education. She's got certifications. And she got a job as soon as she got a work permit, she got a job right away because of her education. Okay? When we apply for Karina's 10-year green card in March of 2026, we're going to include her college education in the 10-year green card application, because it's going to be a different immigration officer who's adjudicating her 10-year green card. So when it comes to adjudicating her 10-year green card, they're going to say, okay, she's got a degree. She's been working in America for 2 years. She started work right as soon as she got her work permit. She started work that next day. So there's a track record. How do we prove the track record? We keep her pay stubs. We got every pay stub from when she started working. Every single pay stub is going in her 10-year green card application. It's like this thick. All of our bank statements together as a couple. She's on the water bill, the trash bill, the electric bill, all of the bills. Just stack of them like this. Her name and my name are on it. Okay? All this evidence is showing that Karina, her name's on the trash bill. I took her name and put her name first on the trash bill. I put her credit card on the trash bill. Immigration's going to see that Karina's been paying the trash bill for 2 years. My name's on it, but she's paying it. That shows that she's self-sufficient. If something was to happen to me, Karina is self-sufficient. This is what you have to prove to immigration. Now, it's going to start in December of 2025. The new adjudication process is going to be how educated is your beneficiary, and can he or she be self-sufficient if something was to happen to the sponsor. And another thing they're looking at is medical conditions. So, if you're overweight and you're trying to get a tourist visa or a H-1B1 work visa to come to America, I'm not talking K-1s now. I'm not talking spousal visas. I'm talking if you have a medical condition, high blood pressure, you're on medication for diabetes or medical issues, and you want to come to the United States, it's going to be a lot harder to qualify, because you could become unless you can prove you have health insurance that's going to cover your medical condition. Okay? So if you're bringing someone to America on a K-1 or a K-2, and you think maybe they got some medical issues, make sure you get them on your health insurance plan. even before they get to America, if you can. So when they go to their medical interview, their medical appointment at the end, 2 weeks before their K-1 visa interview, then the doctor, she can bring to the medical interview evidence that you are on your American citizen sponsors health care. I mean, Karina's on my TRICARE military health insurance. I'm military, so she's on my military health insurance. That information went in into her 2-year green card application. It was in process for the K-1. Okay? So the question, does the sponsor have to lift the conditions of the 2-year green card? Yes, the sponsor's a joint does. And Lauren, what part of the K-1 process did you include the American equivalency of her college transcript when I filed for the K-1 visa? Ren S, can the non-U.S. citizen lift the conditions of a 2-year green card without the sponsor? Yes, a non-U.S. citizen can lift the conditions off of a 2-year green card without the sponsor if they get divorced or if the American citizen sponsor dies. But if the American citizen sponsor dies, or if there's a divorce, the beneficiary will have to prove that he or she came to the United States in good faith to marry the American, in good faith, in a bona fide marriage, but it didn't work out. So you got to prove it. You got to prove it. You didn't come to America for the green card. You came to get married to the person you love, but it didn't work out. If the American citizen sponsor passes away, then you get the certified copy of the death certificate with an explanation as to what happened, and you prove, when you file for the 10-year green card, you have to prove that you are self-sufficient in the United States of America in your job. If something was to happen to me, Karina's good. She's self-sufficient. Okay? You got it? So to answer the question, a beneficiary can lift the conditions off of a 2-year green card by themselves if the American citizen sponsor dies, or if they get a divorce and the divorce was a divorce where they came over in good faith and it didn't work out, and they're financially able to support themselves. If you get a divorce because it didn't work out, immigration understand that. But what they're looking for is immigration fraud. Okay? Jay Baxter, hey, good evening to the Ross family. Jay Baxter, what's going on? Jay Baxter, did you get your coffee yet? I think Karina shipped you some coffee. You should have got it by now. I don't know if you got it or not. Brownie RSPS, I never went to university in the UK because of how expensive it is. That's okay, Brownie RSPS. But you're in the United States of America now. You can sign up for some online college courses, right? You could take a couple of online college courses, business course or something that you show an interest in, right? Immigration is looking for beneficiaries to advance themselves when they get to America. Not just marry an American. They want you to advance your life when you get here, your education. They want you to bring something to this country that is going to benefit the United States. Karina brought with her years of experience as a tax accountant. Then she became the director and manager of a bunch of ice cream stores in Bogota, Colombia. She was managing the accounts. She was the certified cake designer. She was certified as a cake designer in Colombia. She had over 1,000 customers in Bogota who she made cakes for birthdays, anniversaries. All these certifications went in her 2-year green card application. Now she's in America. She has started a coffee company, the Karina Ross Coffee Company. It goes live January 2nd. The website will be active probably by March. We got a website in process. It takes a couple of months to design and build a website, so there's no mistakes. You're going to debug it, etc. but she has a coffee company. I started a t-shirt printing company because like I printed what do you think of this shirt right here? I made this. If I was to, I made this for Karina's coffee company. So I started a t-shirt printing company out of the house. Karina has a coffee company, and all this information is going to go into her 10-year green card application. How do we prove that Karina has a coffee company? Well, she had to file a fictitious name with the state of Florida. So if you go into the state of Florida's government website and type in Karina's coffee company, Karina Ross Coffee Company, you can find it right there. We had to advertise her name in a newspaper before we did that. And then we had to get a product to sell, which is coffee from Colombia. We did that. And we have all this evidence of her being the president of a coffee company here in Florida. You can do that. You can start your own company as a green card holder if you want to. Larry Piercy on board. Welcome, Larry. I'm talking. I got I started a live stream Monday, and all the cement basically gave way on my beautiful teeth that my Colombian dentist made. And so I couldn't speak for the last day and a half. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do a live stream. I couldn't make videos. I had to keep my thumb here so my teeth would stay in my mouth. But this morning I went to my dentist in Pensacola. She's a lady from the Dominican Republic, and her husband's from Colombia. So they knew about I do this immigration channel, so they gave me a good deal. He was born in Colombia. So my dentist in Venezuela, she was born in Colombia, and my dentist in America was born in Colombia. So I got my teeth fixed this morning, and now I'm back to talking again where I don't have to worry about everything falling out of my mouth. And the dentist told me, she said, it's going to be good for about 2 years, then you're going to probably have to re-cement it. I said, okay, that's about how long it lasted this time around. Lauren, do you have any recommendations about how to create a financial ties to each other before you get married? Yeah. Or do they care more about during the adjustment of status versus the K1? They're more concerned about the application for the 2-year green card. When you are going through the K1 visa application, immigration really don't care if you have any financial ties together. They don't care. But they do care when you get married and you have a social security number for your spot. When you're a beneficiary, when Karina got her social security number, first thing we did was we put her on the bank as a joint account holder. But that was during the 2-year green card application. When we were working through the K1 visa process, she wasn't on the bank because she didn't have a social security number. So I couldn't put her on the bank. So what I did was I would send her money once a month with Western Union, or you can use whatever company that you can use to wire money to. So she was working full time. She didn't need the money, but I sent her money once a month, and I kept all the receipts of the Western Union account that I sent to her once a month. So, when we dated for the first year, I'd send her money once a month for the first year. And I kept all the receipts. And when I filed for her K1 visa, I included those Western Union receipts in the K1 visa application so it could show financial support. I was giving Karina financial support, even though she didn't need the money. So that's how you prove a financial connection when you're going through the K1 visa. Western Union receipts. But when you get married and you get your social security number, then that's when you got to put joint commingling of funds. It's mandatory. Joint bank account, get on the title to the car, get on all the bills, joint owners of the electric bill, phone bill, telephone, get on everything. American citizen and the beneficiary. So now Karina's going to apply for her 10-year green card in March of 2026. We got her name on the trash bill, the electric bill, the water bill, the sewer bill. We're going to have 21 bills printed off this printer right here. So Lauren's question is, do they care about financial support during the K1 part? No. You don't have to put your beneficiary on any bills or anything like that. During the K1 visa process, while you're dating somebody, you got to have an engagement party. You got to prove the relationship is real. You got to send money once a month to your beneficiary and keep the Western Union receipts. You got to have pictures together. You want to make at least 2 or 3 trips to go visit your beneficiary. I went to Colombia 5 times to see Karina, and I lived there for 3 years. I was given a visa to live in Colombia from the Colombian government. I had to go through biometrics. I had to get fingerprinted. I had to have a background check done. I had to do all the stuff that beneficiaries have to do to get a green card and a K1 visa. I had to do to live in Colombia. Immigration is immigration. Whether it's Colombian or American, there's a process. So I was with Karina, and when I got to live with her in Colombia, I didn't have to send her money because I'm already in Colombia. So what did I do? I got on I was on the rent receipts we rented this penthouse apartment. We're on the top floor of this apartment, and I got my name on the rent receipts. So when we paid the rent every month, Karina's name was on the rent receipts and my name was on it. So when the landlord gave us a receipt for the rent, both our names were on the rent receipts. That was me. I was, basically sharing the responsibilities of the financial responsibilities in Colombia. Karina was working and I was working remotely from a laptop computer. So when you go through the K1 visa process, don't worry about the financial side of it, but concentrate on sending money once a month to show financial support. That's it. But when you get to America and you're applying for a 2-year green card, you better be a joint bank account holder starting as soon as you get your social security number. Because when you apply for the 10-year green card 2 years later, immigration is going to want to see the day one that you got a joint bank account. When was the first? So let's suppose you're going to apply for a 10-year green card in December of 2025, and then you put your wife on your bank account this month. That's a month before you apply for your 10-year green card. Immigration is going to say, wait a second. Why did you just why did you just join as a joint account holder a month before you applied for the 10-year green card? That's a big red flag right there. So you don't want to do that. As soon as you get to America, get your social security number, get on the bills, get on the house deed or the apartment lease, and start collecting the evidence for the next 2 years. Let's see. Jay Baxter, got the coffee. I sent a photo back to your phone. Oh, there you go. I have not tried it yet, but I got it. No worries. I remember now. I got so much stuff going on, but I remember, Jay Baxter. Julian ALO. Hello, Diego. How are you? I'm good. How are you? How is everybody's families, by the way? We hope. Karina's worn out tired. She worked 12 hours today, so she's taking a break from the live stream. So J-Rod's sitting in for me. But how is everybody doing? Are you hanging in there during the process? The stress? Don't stress it. If you qualify for this benefit, don't stress it. You'll get your benefit. But you got to be patient, okay? Now, it was really interesting because when I got my dental bridge fixed today at the dentist in Pensacola, my dentist was from the Dominican Republic. Her husband, who's the dentist who owns the company, is from Colombia. And the dental assistant that was sucking all the crap out of my mouth during the process was from Nigeria. So we had an immigrant hangout party at the dentist's office today, and my teeth are back to being perfect again, thanks to immigrants, right? There you go. So Julian ALO, how are you? I have one question. Is it a problem if we don't file taxes together to lift the conditions? If you don't file taxes together, you are not going to get a green card when you lift the conditions. you're not going to get a green card. When you get married to an American citizen, you have to file taxes together. Karina worked in 2024. She got a job right away as soon as she got a work permit. In January or February of 2025, we've filed our taxes together. In January of 2026 or February, I got to wait for my 1099s to get here and Karina's W-2s. We're going to file our taxes together as a couple. If you do not file your taxes together as a couple, you are not going to get a 10-year green card. Pay attention, class. You got to listen to me. But we have all the rest of the proof together. Nope. Trash, irrelevant. Joint accounts in the bank, irrelevant. Electric, mortgage, irrelevant. It's all irrelevant unless you have a joint tax return. You have to file your taxes together as a couple to get a 10-year green card. Because if you don't, immigration's going to ask to see it. Where are your tax returns, Mr. and Mrs. Ross? Well, we filed our taxes together as a couple in February of 2025. I'm trying to make sure I don't mess up the dates there. In July of 2025, I called the IRS and they sent me my tax transcripts, and it had Karina's name and Diego's name on the tax transcripts, plus the 1040, plus the W-2 for Karina, and the 1099s for me. Because I get 1099s. I don't get W-2s. I get a 1099 for being retired from the Navy. Once a month, I get a retirement check. And because I've got a YouTube channel for you guys, when you guys send super chats, etc., with the super chats, I get taxed on that, which is fine. So when I get taxed on the super chats, Google and YouTube send me a 1099 for the super chats. So that counts as income. So what I did when we filed our taxes in January of 2025, I got two 1099s, one for retired military and one for the YouTube channel, and Karina got W-2. And then you got to wait for your bank statements to come in with the interest that you made on your bank statements. And then both names are going to be on that paperwork. So when you apply for a 10-year green card, immigration's going to look at the 1040 with both names on it. That's the IRS form 1040. They're going to look at the tax transcript with both names on it, the income in particular. They're going to look at Karina's W-2. They're going to look at my 1099s. They're going to look at the interest income that we made. And they're going to add it all up, and that number's going to have to match the 1040. If it doesn't match the 1040, there's a financial imbalance, and that's going to be a problem for immigration. Okay? You got to pay attention, class. You got to listen to me. Immigration is going to be screening your 1040s, your tax transcripts, your W-2s, your 1099s. They're going to be adding up the income on your W-2s and matching it to the 1040s. You've got to get your tax transcripts. Now, I'm going to file a joint tax return with Karina in February of 2026, as soon as I get my 1099s. But I'm not going to be able to get the tax transcripts for our 2025 tax return because it's going to take 6 months for the IRS to generate a tax transcript. So when we file for her 10-year green card in March of 2026, we will have our 2025 tax return plus the tax transcript and the W-2s and 1099s and the bank statements with the interest income. And then we're going to have the 1040, a copy of the 1040, plus the W-2 and the 1099s and the tax and the income from the bank statement. And I'm going to write a little note from Diego and Karina Ross to USCIS. We are unable to get the tax transcript because the IRS hasn't created one yet for my tax return. That goes in her 10-year green card application. When you apply for U.S. citizenship, which Corinne is going to do hopefully in March of 2027, we're going to have to upload online with the N400 our tax returns for 3 years with both our names on the tax returns, the 1099s, the W-2s. This is critical. The IRS, Homeland Security, USCIS, and the Border Patrol are all joined together now as a group. They're all connected like the Borg in a Star Trek movie, and they all talk to each other. So when I file a tax return with Karina in 2026, the immigration folks are going to know that we filed a joint tax return because the IRS is going to be notified. If you decide you want to travel somewhere on vacation and leave the United States when you get your 2-year green card, let's suppose you got your 2-year green card and you want to go on vacation somewhere. You want to go back to, I don't know, to Pakistan for a 2-week vacation. You leave the United States with your husband or wife and you go to Pakistan for 2 weeks, and then you come back to the United States. The Border Patrol will notify USCIS that you left the country. So when you go for a 10-year green card application or U.S. citizenship, it's going to be in the USCIS computer that you left the United States, and it's going to be a biometric picture of your face when you leave. They're going to know when you left and when you came back, because the Border Patrol is going to tell USCIS. So you can't lie, and you can't forget stuff. You go to your U.S. citizenship interview and you forgot you went to India for a 2-week vacation 2 years ago. You just forgot. And they ask you, have you ever left the United States since you've been a green card holder? And you say no. But you went to Colombia for a 2-week vacation. The immigration officer is going to flag you and ask you, well, wait a second. 2.5 years ago, you went to Bogota. It's right here on my computer. Why didn't you tell me that? What, are you trying to hide something? Oh, no, I completely forgot. You can't make that mistake because you're going to lose. Your U.S. citizenship is going to be denied. So what's the secret to get all this immigration stuff off your back? You get your K-1, you get your 2-year green card, you lift the conditions off your 2-year green card, and then you apply for citizenship, and don't leave the United States of America until you have become an American citizen, which only takes 3 years. It's not very long. We dated each other for 3 years in Colombia. I lived in Bogota most of that time. I had to fly back to America, every 6 months. I'd come back and I'd use up my 6 months on my Colombian tourist visa. Then I'd use up another 6 months the next year. Then I got a 1-year visa. But I'm an American citizen. I'm a U.S. When I was out of the country for 3 years, the Border Patrol couldn't care less. And then finally, when I got to Miami with Karina, the Border Patrol looked in the computer and saw my travel history, and they said, Diego, welcome back home, finally. And I said, how did you know that? They said, because for the last 3 years, you've been flying back and forth to Colombia, and you've been staying there for 3 months, 6 months, 11 months. We can see it on the history, your travel history. And now I see you bought a one-way ticket from Bogota to Miami. So we're going to assume that you're done traveling to Colombia. And I said, you're absolutely correct. I'm done traveling to Colombia for now. And he started laughing. He said, we know what we can see right here, what your travel history is. But I'm an American citizen. And the Border Patrol couldn't care less how long I was gone out of the country. But if you are a green card holder and you leave the United States for longer than 180 days, your green card is going to be considered abandoned. And you won't be able to get back into the United States unless you have an advanced parole document. So don't do that. Come to America, get your 2-year green card, apply for your 10-year green card, apply for citizenship, get your US passport, and then you can travel anywhere you want, except for, let's say, North Korea. I mean, it wouldn't be a good idea to try to fly to North Korea or Iran with a US passport because you ain't going to get in. Why would you want to go there anyway? Right? You know? I'm telling you guys, you got to pay attention to class. Let me see. Larry Piercy, glad you're okay. Well, thanks, Larry. I started to do a live stream Monday, and all the cement broke off in my friggin' mouth. 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month. So my Dominican Republican dentist fixed me up this morning at 9:30 this morning in Pensacola. And she told me, look, Diego, it's going to be good for about 2 years. And I said, yeah, that's about how long the cement lasted this time around. And she told me that my Colombian dentist did a fantastic job building this bridge. It's all made in Colombia. Jake Baxter, we still haven't received word back after we submitted our request for further evidence for her American background check from Oklahoma, right? USCIS website still says they received it in August, but no other updates. Well, as long as you haven't got a letter saying that she's been denied, you're good. And that would have come, you would have received that already. So it's in process. August, September, October, November, so 3 months. You should be hearing back this month from immigration. So we're going to put some MAGA pixie dust on Jay Baxter in Oklahoma. This stuff works, okay? This is the K1 visa green card, super lucky 2025 pixie dust. In 2024, this was the super lucky pixie dust, the blue, but now it's red, okay? So we're going to get you, your wife's going to get her green card, okay? Don't worry, Jay Baxter. Brownie, me and my wife used PayPal to send money before we applied for our K1. Yeah, you can use PayPal, whatever. But when you are in the K1 visa process and the American citizen sponsors in the United States and your beneficiaries in the Philippines, Colombia, India, Pakistan, Dominican Republic, wherever, Haiti, although Haiti, the embassy's closed, I think, you got to send money to your beneficiary once a month to show proof of financial support. You're engaged to be married. You got to provide financial support to your beneficiary. The K1 visa isn't a girlfriend-boyfriend visa. A lot of people think that. She's my girlfriend. And you look at their Facebook account, and you look at someone who's going through a K1 visa application. And when I don't have a Facebook account anymore, I got rid of that crap when Karina got her green card. But when I had a Facebook account in Colombia, people would message me, "Hey, I'm going through the K1 visa process. Can you help me in this Yahoo whatever?" And I'd look at their relationship status in Facebook, and it would say, "Interested in other people." So I send them a message in Facebook and say, "You're in the middle of a K1 visa process, but your Facebook account says you're interested in guys, or you're interested in girls, or other people, or your relationship status is complicated." What the heck? Immigration is going to see that, and you're going to have a big problem with your K1 visa application. When you file for a K1 visa, or when you go to the embassy, when you fill out the DS-160, okay? When you fill out the DS-160, which is the Department of State Form 160, they ask you, do you have any social media accounts? Facebook, Instagram, X, which used to be Twitter. Well, you guys know that. And Karina had a Facebook account and Instagram. So she said, yeah, I got Instagram, Facebook. And I had Facebook. But Karina, she lost the password to her Facebook account, so she hasn't been in her Facebook account for like 5 years. And I got rid of my Facebook account years ago. I don't use Facebook. But they're going to ask you for your social media information, and they're going to look at it. So if you have a Facebook account, Mr. American Citizen Sponsor or Miss Beneficiary, and your relationship status in Facebook is not if you are not engaged to your American Citizen Sponsor in Facebook, it should say engaged, and both of you should be connected in Facebook, engaged. That's what immigration is going to look for. And if they don't see that, it's going to be a problem. Okay? So if you use Facebook, check your relationship status and make sure if your beneficiary uses Facebook and you use Facebook, Mr. Sponsor, make sure you are both engaged to each other in relationship status. And all the pictures are public so immigration can see it. If you say to immigration at your K-1 visa interview, you have a Facebook account, but it's private, and you ain't going to look at my private Facebook account, you ain't going to get a K-1 visa. They can deny it because they think you're trying to hide something. You listen to me, pay attention to me, class. And when you arrive in the United States of America, they're going to want to, they could ask you for your cell phone. Now, the American Citizen Sponsor, probably not, but more than likely the beneficiary. So the beneficiary gets into her K-1 visa interview for her I-94. They're going to terminate the K-1 visa and they're going to issue you an I-94. They may ask to see your phone. Well, no, it's private. You're not looking in my phone. Okay, well then get on a plane and go back to wherever it is you came from. Border Patrol has that authority. You got to open up your phone to the Border Patrol and you got to let them look at it. So they're going to look in your phone. They're going to look through all your pictures. They're going to look at all your applications on your phone. If you have applications on your phone, like, I don't know if Colombian Cupid has an application, but if you have any dating apps on your phone, that's an issue with immigration. Well, you're engaged to this American Citizen Sponsor on a K-1. Why do you have these dating apps on your freaking telephone? So you could say, well, I forgot to delete them. I met my American Citizen Sponsor on this dating app on my phone, and I didn't delete it. When you become engaged to an American citizen and you are in the process of a K-1 visa, you get rid of all those dating apps off of your freaking phone. Listen to me, class. I'm going to save you a lot of headaches when you get to America. And Brownie said he sent PayPal to send money back and forth. Very good. And my wife didn't file taxes jointly in time for the 2-year green card just because our marriage certificate wasn't finalized. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll be filing jointly for 2026, though. There you go. Don't worry about it. Sometimes the timing isn't perfect for filing a joint tax return. So if you haven't filed a joint tax return together, make sure you do in 2026 for 2025. It's absolutely 100% mandatory. Lauren, is there such a thing as too much evidence? No, no such thing as too much evidence. The more the better. Pictures, receipts, flights, Ubers, Airbnbs, letters of support. Max it out. I want to be thorough, but I also don't want to overwhelm the officer. Overwhelm the officer. When I submitted Karina's K-1 visa application to Louisville, Texas in 2022, I can't remember going back that far. When I submitted it was 4 8-inch binders filled with stuff. So you got imagine. Well, there's a binder right here, right? This is a binder right here. Oh, I keep hitting J-Rod. So it was this big times 4. So I submitted 4 8-inch binders of stuff to Louisville, Texas for her K-1 visa. Then I made a copy of every single page, which was 4 big, thick books, put them in my carry-on. There wasn't any room for my underwear or my jeans or my shirts because all that stuff was in Colombia. I carried it there the last trip. When we were dating each other, I brought most of my clothes to Colombia because I just wanted to stay with her. I flew to Colombia with carry-on, and all I had was these 4 binders full of immigration paperwork. And I gave them to Karina. I said, here's your copy of your K1 visa in case you need it at the visa interview. So a year and a half later, she went to her scary K1 visa interview, but they didn't ask for hardly anything that was in the K1 visa package I sent because they already had it. But I gave it to Karina just in case they asked for it. Always cover yourself. So once she passed her K1 visa interview and she was adjudicated as approved, I went back and started just pulling all the stuff out of those binders that we didn't need for her 2-year green card. We don't need all this crap. And then I downsized it to like 1 binder and brought that back to the United States, which was our evidence, which we submitted the pictures of us together for the last 3 years in Colombia. So go ahead, Lauren, overwhelm the immigration officer. Overwhelm him with evidence. Brownie RSPS, is it the officer's job to disprove your case? If you give them overwhelming amounts of evidence, they can disprove. No. If you overwhelm them with evidence, they're going to adjudicate. Yes, they're going to give you a positive. The harder you work on your K1 visa application or your green card package, the more sweat equity you put into your application, the better chance of getting an approval. If you put together a pitiful K1 visa package with hardly any evidence in it, 1 trip to see your beneficiary where you spent a week with her, 4 pictures of selfies, no pictures with family and friends, 1 set of boarding passes going there and coming back, you're going to get an RFE for, I need further evidence of your relationship. I made 3 trips to Colombia before I even submitted the K1 visa. I stayed with Karina for 5 weeks and then for 5 months using my tourist visas. And so I wasn't worried about living in Colombia for 5 months because I'm an American citizen and my legal status in America is no problem re-entering the United States even after being gone for a year. I'm still going to be allowed back into the United States with my US passport. Okay? But if you are on a 2-year green card and you leave America for 180 days or more, your green card will be confiscated from you when you come back to the United States because you've abandoned your green card. When you get your 2-year green card, stay in America until you get at least your US citizenship. Don't be taking trips outside the country. Don't do it. Why can't you? I mean, surely you can wait 3 years before you go back to your country where you started to go see grandma. You can wait 3 years before you go back and see your friends in the Pueblo. I don't care what country it is. India, Pakistan, Colombia, Venezuela, whatever country you're from, you need to tell your friends, hey, I'm going to be going to America to live. You won't probably see me for 3 or 4 years. Get over it. Okay? But if you come to America and you've been here for 2 months and then you've got your 2-year green card and you've had it for 2 months, then all of a sudden you miss your friend so much, you got to go back to, let's say, the Philippines. I want to fly back to Cebu and see my buddies. Immigration's going to flag you. When it comes to applying for your 10-year green card or for U.S. citizenship, if you've got a bunch of trips out of the country, even if it's for 2 weeks at a time, it's going to be a problem. You may not get your U.S. citizenship, not for the first time up. They may say, well, you made 5 trips to India in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, you've been to India 5 times. You've been to Colombia 4 times. You've been to the Philippines 5 times. What is it about America you don't like? Why is it you keep going back home to where you started? Well, I miss my friends. Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. Immigration's going to say, well, you can't, if you can't stay in America longer than 3 years, without having to leave the country, then you need to wait until you become a citizen. We're going to put you on hold for another 2 years or 4 years or 3 years. Why not just come to America, do the 3-year wait out, get you, and then apply for citizenship? If you listen to me, class, you're going to breeze through this. Brownie, that's what I said. More evidence is better. Right. The more stuff you give immigration, the better. You're showing sweat equity. Lauren, did you list the locations you stayed in Colombia as a tourist in your list of physical addresses on the I-129F? No. Immigration didn't care where we stayed on vacation in Colombia. The only address that we listed on the I-129F was my address here in Florida and Karina's address, which was our address in Bogota, Colombia. And she lived in Bogota, Colombia for 6 years. So when they asked her for her address, where have you lived for the last 5 years? It was only 2 addresses, and both of them were in Bogota. When they asked me where I lived for the last 5 years, it was only, I've been living here for 10 years. So it was only 1 address. So immigration can see that I haven't gone and moved anywhere for the last 10 years. So I'm stable in this house. This is a stable place to live. Karina was stable in her apartment in Bogota because she was there 5 years. 1 apartment was for 3 years with me, and 2 years was the other apartment, was the apartment that she moved out of because it was too small for the both of us, which we put in a little explanation. It was a little explanation. And if you want to explain something to immigration to cover something, you can do it on your I-129F and also on the 485. The last page of the I-129F is a space where you can write stuff that you want to explain to immigration. Like if the address is too long to put it on the paperwork on the I-129F, you can put it right on the back page on page 13, I think it is. The same is true with the 485. Like some folks, if you're like some people, my dad's married to a lady from Thailand. Her name's like this long. You can see that. My dad's wife's name is this long. She got 5 names and they're all like this long. If he was to bring it to America, he would not be able to fit her name on the I-129F, or it would be a spousal visa in his case. But he lives in Thailand. He's not going to live here. But I'm just explaining that if you want to explain something to immigration, you can do it. Lauren, look at you. A super sticker. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. We appreciate that. And you're a member of the channel too. So you doubling up tonight. So well, thank you so much. That's going to be a Mountain Dew salute to Lauren for that super sticker. That's a super sticker. And we appreciate it. So no, I didn't list all of the places that we stayed on vacation. We were on vacation in Cucuta, Colombia. We went on vacation to Cartagena, Colombia, on the Caribbean coast. But here's the thing. When we went to those places, we went on vacation to Villa de Leyva. We stayed at a hotel in Villa de Leyva for a week. We went on vacation to Chowchi. We worked on a coffee farm in the Andes Mountains. We did all this stuff. So what I did was I included the plane tickets in the application for the K1 visa. Here are the plane tickets, and it was my name on the Avianca plane ticket, and it was Karina's name on the Avianca plane ticket. It showed that we both were on the same flight on the same day, going to the same place. I make copies of the plane tickets and the hotel receipts. No problem, Lauren. I'm going to answer your questions. I want to get you through this process so you don't have to freaking hire an immigration attorney, okay? An immigration attorney is going to charge you $400 for a consultation phone call. And I've been talking for almost an hour and a half. So hopefully y'all learned something new today. And Brownie RSPS, I'm waiting to take my wife to meet my parents so we can get photos of us together at some point. Well, wait, now your parents live in the United Kingdom, right? In England. Don't they live in England? And you want to get pictures with your parents, which is understandable. But I would wait to do that until you become a citizen. I want to get pictures with Karina's mom and dad, but they live in Venezuela. I'm not allowed to enter Venezuela. If I go into Venezuela, the Maduro communist dictator bus driver who thinks he's the president of Venezuela will arrest me and throw me in jail. So I can't get pictures with Karina's mom and dad or her sister, Alba. I wish I could. They're beautiful people. So I didn't include pictures of Karina and myself with her family in Venezuela because I can't enter frickin' Venezuela. So I put a little letter in the 2-year green card application. Sorry, we don't have any pictures together with Karina's mom and dad, but we're not going back into Venezuela, and I'm not allowed to go into Venezuela. Didn't hurt Karina's K1 visa or green card application a dime. But we explained it. Lauren, thanks for all your answers. No problem. Yes, sir, Brownie. Now, my dad is sir, okay? I'm Diego. Praying for Karina's family, not a good place to be right now. Well, here's the thing. 20% of the United States Navy is circling around in the Caribbean Sea off the coast of Venezuela. The USS Gerald R. Ford is an aircraft carrier battle group, are almost in the border with Venezuela. So about 20% of the U.S. military, the U.S. Navy, including a ton of Marines, are sitting off the coast of Venezuela. And I'm quite sure that Maduro knows that and is getting very antsy about his future position as the fraudulent president of Venezuela. He is a fraud president. Karina's mom was a poll worker in Caracas, Venezuela. Her mom collected all the election results from the election in Venezuela at the poll station. And it showed that Maduro lost the election by 20% to 80% for the opposing political candidate, who is now living in exile in Spain because of that communist dictator. Maduro, in my opinion, should pack his crap in his little suitcase and get out of Venezuela while he can do so. Right now, he has an opportunity to leave Venezuela with his commie generals and go live somewhere else, like Russia. He's got a choice. He's got an opportunity. But if he hangs around much longer, once that carrier battle group gets trained up and all those F-18 fighter jets get their practice runs in, Maduro's time in Venezuela is going to be not good. Let's put it that way. Brownie RSPS, go get yourself some rest. Thank you for answering all of our questions. That's a good idea, Brownie. Lauren, thank you for that super sticker. We appreciate it. Thanks for signing up as a member. We appreciate that. Now you can go, you got access now, Lauren, and all of our members, to my phone number. It's Karina's phone number, but I'm the one that's going to be responding to the immigration questions. You can call, text me, email me anytime you want. If you have an emergent question, it's an emergency. Like one person had an emergency, call me at 10 o'clock at night because their green card was denied. Well, I saved them. I fixed it for them. Okay? We'll see you at the next live stream. Hopefully, Karina will be with me. I'm sure she will. Today is, what day is it today? Wednesday. Next live stream is Saturday. See you guys then.